Factoring by grouping. On this worksheet, we're going to practice factoring by grouping. Directions say, find the GCF of the first two terms and the GCF of the last two terms for each polynomial. You do not have to finish factoring. So we're going to factor the first two terms, and then we're going to factor the second two terms and see what happens. Number 1, 12x cubed plus 3x squared. We're thinking, what is the GCF of the green? Well, the biggest number I can factor off is a 3. And how many x's can I factor off? 2. So if I think to myself, 3 times what is 12? I get a 4. And x squared times x would give me 12x cubed. For my second term, I notice 3x squared and 3x squared are the same, so this is going to be a 1. And now I need to do the pink. The greatest common factor of 20x and 5, let's put a plus sign in there, is going to be 5. So if I divide off of 5, I get 4x plus 1. The exciting thing to notice is that this chunk and this chunk are the exact same thing. In these directions, we do not have to finish factoring, so this is our answer. So find the GCF of our first two terms. Well, one of them is 3x squared, and the other one is 5. You can circle them if you want, or you could just leave your answer as it was. Let's try another one. Number 2. Whenever you see 4 terms, you know you have to factor by grouping. So in the first group, what is the biggest number I can divide out? 6. How many v's can I take? 2. 6 times 1 is 6. V squared times v is v cubed. 6 times 7 is 42. And we don't need any v's inside. Factoring the pink. I see 5 and 35, so the greatest common factor is 5, and I can't take off any v's. So I'm left with v plus 7. Double check to see if my chunks are the same, and they are. Number 3, I see 4 terms. Our directions are to factor, so I'm going to factor the first two. Greatest common factor of 8t cubed and 36t squared is 4. And then how many t's can I take off? 2 of them. So if I divide 8t cubed by 4t squared, I get 2t. If I divide 36t squared by 4t squared, I get 9. Now I need to move on to my second group. 2 and 9. 2 is prime, so that means its only factors are 2 and 1. 9 is 9 and 1, 3 and 3. There are no common factors. So if there are no common factors, I'm just going to use a 1 on the outside, because I can't even divide off any t's. So if I divide these by 1, I'm left with itself. So 2t plus 9 would go in the chunk. Double check. Are these pieces the same? And I'm noticing I'm missing a plus 9 in there. So now my two chunks are exactly the same. So if you want to do less work on these directions, what you could be doing instead of showing all this work is, here's my first group, here's my second group. I need to find the greatest common factor of each group. So looking at 10 and 35, I'm thinking of the number 5. How many S's can I take off? 1. In the green, the biggest number I can factor off is a 3, and I can't take any S's off. I think I should have put S squared on the pink. So the difference between what I did on 4 and what I did on 3 is that I didn't finish and keep going. The directions just want the greatest common factors, so if I want to do the minimum, that's what I could do. But you're going to want to get in the habit of doing what we did on 1, 2, and 3, because on a quiz, we are not going to just do this. So those directions are for 1 through 8. Now let's jump to number 9. The directions of 9 say to factor each expression. So the first thing we should be thinking of is GCF. Is there a GCF for all of my terms? That 5 causes a problem, otherwise everything is even and we could have factored out a 2. The next thing I think of is, can I factor by grouping? Well, I have 4 terms, so it is likely. So in my first group, I'm looking for a number I can divide off. 8 and 4. So my biggest factor is a 4. J cubed, J squared. So I'm going to take off 2. So then I'm left with 2J plus 1. And if I multiplied or distributed this out, I would get the same thing with the pink up here. In the green, 10 and 5 have a factor of 5. I'm going to connect it with a plus 5, because that is a positive 5. If I divide by 5, I'm left with 2J plus 1. So I have found my greatest common factor for both pairs. Double check. Does my chunk match? Now, my chunk matches, so this is like another common factor, so I can divide it off. So 2J plus 1 goes on the outside. So if I divide this by 2J plus 1, and if I divide this by 2J plus 1, then this is going to come off and that's going to divide off, divide off, divide off. And I'm going to be left with 4J squared plus 5. So this was the yellow chunk that I divided off at the beginning. And this and this is what was left over. So this is completely factored. So we have binomial times binomial. Number 10. I don't see a greatest common factor because of the 9, so I'm going to factor by grouping. So if I do the green group, I'm going to divide off a 2. And the most m's I can take is 2. So in the front, I'm left with an m. In the back, I'm left with plus 4. Now we need to factor the pink. 9 and 36 have a common factor of 9. So I'm left with m plus 4. We need to double check that our chunks are the same, and they are. So that's a common factor that I can factor off. So m plus 4 is going to come out. So in my head I'm thinking if I divide by this m plus 4, if I divide by m plus 4, then I'm left with the 2m squared plus 9. You do not have to show this step of work or this step of work. You know that that yellow chunk is going to cancel off, so when you take it off, what's left is the 2m. When you take it off, what's left is the 9. Please try number 11. Please pause the video while the students work. When they're ready to see the answer, turn the video back on. You may start working on 12 if you have time. Here's the solution to number 11. I'm going to factor with pink. The greatest common factor is 5s squared. 5 times 2 is 10, s squared times s is s cubed. 5 times 5 is 25, s squared becomes s squared. In the blue, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 5 is 20, and then I have an s in there. Double check that my chunk is the exact same in both, so I'm going to factor that off. So my chunk goes in the front, and now I'm asking myself what is left over? 5s squared plus 4. Please try number 12. Pause the video till everyone in the room is ready for the answer. Here's the solution. Greatest common factor is 3x squared. Greatest common factor is a 1. We haven't done one of those for a while. So now my yellow chunks are the exact same, so I can divide it off, and I'm left with 3x squared plus 1. This concludes my lesson.